live in an age of what sociologists call exploding diversity. Many different cultures and ways of life are sharing the same stage, the same country, the same neighborhood, the same street, maybe even the same household. And our world is increasingly colorful and eclectic. I'll give you a personal example. Why do you think it is that my wife and I love Indian food so much? Well, because of this growing diversity, inclusivity is one of our most cherished cultural values. You know, we rightfully pride ourselves on the fact that North America is a vast melting pot for all of these different cultures and ways of life, and we should. But all this diversity is not without its challenges. In fact, my colleague Oz Guinness says that today's greatest challenge is how do we live with our deep differences, especially when those differences are ideological and religious, and very especially when those differences concern matters of our common public life. Here's where religious faith increasingly finds itself in the hot seat. Christianity in particular is often singled out as one of the worst offenders when it comes to the issue of tolerance and diversity. This is largely because the boundaries that Christianity places on a person's behavior are seen as problematic. Now, first off, we need to be clear that every culture, every religion, and every institution draws boundaries. It's just a matter of where those boundaries are placed. So, for instance, there's currently widespread disagreement about the expression of a person's sexuality. The marriage debate, of course, centers on this very question. Nevertheless, most of us would agree that limits should be placed on the practice of sexuality itself. Most of us would agree that minors should be protected from predators, and that physically harmful behavior has no place in the bedroom, and so on. Now, at this point, many people will interject that these issues are really all about love. And I agree. But this brings up an interesting question. What is love? So much depends on how we answer that question. Now, our culture tends to equate love with unconditional acceptance. If you don't accept me as I am, then you don't truly love me. Now, this tends to lead to a state of mind that I call me without compromise. Now, we can easily see some of the problems with the mindset. What about a person with a substance abuse problem? What about someone who displays suicidal behavior, or less dramatic, what about someone who just routinely mistreats the people they love? Should we just accept them as they are? Or would a loving person try to persuade them to change their destructive behavior? Now, on the other hand, Christianity says that to love someone is to will the good for them. So who determines what is good? Well, Christianity says that Jesus Christ does. And it says that the supreme act of love that we find is that Christ went willingly to the cross to lay down his life for a sinful humanity who had rejected him. Christians are also called to take up their crosses. Christianity requires much more than tolerance. It requires sacrificial love. It's not that Jesus doesn't love us the way we are. It's that he loves us too much to let us stay the way we are.